Yo, what's up designers? Welcome back to the channel. It's Jimmy. So today I got another portfolio to show you guys, an industrial design portfolio. His name is Wei. At the time of this portfolio, he was a junior industrial designer, but he currently now is a senior industrial designer about to graduate in just a few weeks or even just a few days from now. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over his portfolio, see what he's got going. Maybe you guys can take something out of it, know how to structure your portfolio, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So his name is William Cao. I know him as Wei. Shout out to Wei. And leave any comments down below on his portfolio because I'm sure he will be watching this video. This is going to be his intro kind of a page, very grungy kind of looking, you know, with this intense kind of like old film grain texture. Got portfolio, selected works 2019 to 2021. So this is going to be a table of contents. It's going to be showing 4 different products. It looks like a coffee maker, some sort of a light mounting product, a drone it looks like, and then a prosthetic. I'll probably just either 1 drop down some names of these products, or 2 just drop down like 1, 2, 3, 4, indicating immediately that these are the 4 projects that you will be showing. Pretty decent layout here. What I would also suggest is really rethink this font that you have going on. I think it's, you know, it's just a little bit too edgy, I think, and if you could pick a more tasteful font, that would also greatly improve this portfolio. I told him that this wasn't going to be a critique, but it seemed like he was looking for a critique, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in some of the things I think that he should update to make it even better. Immediately, first page, it looks really great. This is what I call the intro page, pretty much just showing a great hero shot of the product. And this here looks to be a full-on kind of coffee drip system, coffee maker. We have some good, nice wood material, have some nice kind of plastic. Looks like, if we look at it closely, looks like even carbon fiber almost. We have a texture here on the handle. It looks like a leather kind of wrapped texture. And then have some matte textures. Okay, so this is a great rendering, and usually I'm going to take this in the perspective of not really the design details, the thought process, because I'm trying to look at this in the mindset of what a industrial design employer would want to look at. And normally for them, generally what they're looking for is if you can do the work for them, generally. And that means if you can sketch, if you can Photoshop, if you can render and 3D model, and if you just have an overall general good design taste, that's pretty much what they're looking for. As far as the fine details and the thought process, I think that stuff generally is more fine-tuned when you are a professional, because you always have to give your students a benefit of the doubt that these projects are just student projects made during a classroom. At the end of the day, they're not going to actually be manufactured. And so it's a totally different kind of mind process when you're actually trying to manufacture a product. But I think for all employers, for anybody looking at a student industrial design portfolio, you got to give the student that benefit of the doubt. Okay, so this is a really cool shot here. This looks to be a competitor type of shot, very nice looking, and so I can see he's taken a lot of kind of inspiration from that, and this seems to be the brand that he's targeting, so it's a branded kind of project. Jumping into the positioning, it looks like some of the research, some of the design language, style board layout. So these are pages that you usually would want to have when you are when you have a portfolio, is all of these kind of background research. So what I would say, Wei, is to go ahead and change up this font here. It's definitely not working. I do like these dots here. It kind of tells me how much more I have going and where I am at in your portfolio. I can see some imperfections, like just right here, you can see that the pictures aren't lining up. Right here, there's a little bit of a gap. So go ahead and really fix those little tiny things, and it'll just take your portfolio 10% to the next level. Okay, so then we jump into some ideation, some sketches. It looks really good overall. You know, like as an employer, they're not going to be really taking their time and reading a specific kind of things that you wrote down, they're going to really be flipping through this pretty quickly. Really nice sketches, decent sketches, and it looks like you did some sort of an overlay on top of a CAD model, which is a really smart way to do it, just to make sure you get all your perspective down. Some more ideation, it looks like, some sketching over CAD, so pretty cool. So it looks like you have 2 pages of sketches. So now it's jumping into your actual final design, and so I really like this. Everything looks very fitted to the brand, and this kind of like hovering individual kind of piece here looks really cool. Let's see, anything I can really think of it. The rendering does look a little bit noisy. It looks like it was rendered in a lower DPI or some sort, and so I would probably kick up the resolution of your renderings when you are rendering it in KeyShot. Also, this handle looks a little bit too blocky, so I would go ahead and maybe rethink how this handle works, but earlier I remember it looked like you had some kind of screen on it. Also, as far as rendering goes, this leather kind of wrap material, you probably should rethink the leather wrap material as far as when liquids are involved. Generally, people don't have leather kind of stuff when liquids are involved. Just isn't really a good material for water. And also, it looks like, as far as rendering advice goes, the leather looks a little bit too large. So I would probably just reduce the scale down by a little bit more, maybe even 50% below this. So we have wood, and we have some plastic, and usually I think also people don't like wood when it comes to liquid kind of products, just because wood isn't very good when it comes to that. Like, you know, people use coasters on tables just for that reason, is because the liquid doesn't seep into the wood and ruining it altogether. So I'll probably rethink some of the materials and render them just a little bit more nicer. And I also like that you have the hand in there. The hands are always good to have in your projects, just because it's bringing in that human aspect and it's showing that it's a touch point. And so always bringing in some hands and some faces, some smiling faces, is always a good kind of a little element to add in your portfolio. And I would probably, again, rethink this font. This font is like, I think it's like the biggest thing that's taken away from your portfolio. It's hard to read. It's, you know, it's a little bit too like horsey. I can't really describe it, but try to pick like a more like safer, more elegant kind of font, like Helvetica or Din or something like that. You know, Century Gothic. Some of the parts, taking it apart, a little bit of an exploding view. So these things are always good to show the employer that you know how parts kind of come together in a very rough way. And you know how to think as an industrial designer. And this is cool, showing a CAD, showing that you really thought about some of the internal components. And you know, they're not going to really dig too deeply into if this is actually technically will work. It's just more of that you show the effort that you are really trying to think of that. Some close-ups here. Usually with close-ups, these look like pretty decent renders. So what I would do is really just split these two renderings up into 2 different pages and blow them up really big, you know, and maybe even consider adding a little bit of a blur. You could do that in either KeyShot itself or Photoshop. So boom, finishing shot. This looks great. The red one looks pretty cool. And then the black one is the one that we've looked at, and then a lighter colors. Also, another suggestion I would also add is if you do end up reworking this portfolio, probably I would suggest make it a little bit wider. Like maybe a 16:9 aspect ratio. Okay, now it's jumping into this lighting mounting kind of a product. Looks like there's a camera there, which is pretty cool. Very robust and durable. You have some kind of purple lighting, it looks like, and you know, some silver screws. This one here looks like it's missing a screw actually, or is it just darker? This one here looks really different than that one. Maybe the material is either different or it's missing a screw or something, but I would probably figure out why this screw looks a lot different than these ones. Also, it looks like you use 2 different kind of screws. This screw looks different than that screw. So this is the opening shot. Looks like a big logo. Again, rework that font. Okay, so this is pretty much the brief. It looks like he's going for some action kind of lifestyle. It's always good to have competitors. Usually what I like to do too is just have a pros and cons list. So if these are the competitors that you're trying to kind of focus on, have a pros and cons of what's good and what's bad about them. So it looks like the product is going to be a combination of lights, a camera, rear camera and a GoPro camera. Layout looks pretty good. This is nice and simple. That's what I usually recommend to students when it comes to graphics, is just try to keep it as simple as possible. Don't try to like add some crazy background or some colors or some crazy graphics on the edges and stuff like that, because I think personally it just really takes away from your portfolio, and you really just want to show your work kind of shine through. Looks like you thought about some branding, reworking some branding, some ideation, cool. Some nice sketches here, some fast, dirty, quick sketches, but presented in a pretty good way. They're nice and bold. Everything is easy to follow, okay. 2 vertical lines. It looks like it's a little bit off up at the top. These 2 lines are dark here. It looks like some framing issues. So I'll probably go ahead and try to fix that way. So here is your hero shot, your introduction page, if you will, and it looks pretty robust. Used to have that purple lighting, and it looks like it's made out of some sort of a brushed metal material, and it looks very strong. Got this 4 screws. Yeah, so this one here, again, it's also missing a screw, or maybe that's a button. Okay, mounting that thing looks like it flips around for the rear camera, for the front camera. All right. It's a square. Usually when you have things that rotate around, maybe think of it to shape it as a cylinder, you know. Maybe think it's like a camera on a cylinder, so that's easy to kind of understand that it rotates around versus this kind of a square shape. Something to think about. I doubt you'll go back, try to modify this or update the project. It's always good to just know this stuff for the future purposes, so that when you work on and you're designing and making decisions for future projects, that you'll keep that in mind. I also think that it would look better if these screws were darker. Just, you know, you don't want it to be too in your face. And so I'd probably just blacken them out, maybe a matte black or an anodized black, so that they're not like overly taking the design of the product, because that's kind of like the first thing that I look at. Also, it looks like these are lights, which I imagine they are, and so what I would like you to do too is to really light them up, like, you know, like in Photoshop or in Keyshot, you know, really like add that boom factor of the lights kind of showing in maybe its context as well. Looks like you went through a couple different iterations. This one looks like a primered one, a FDM one, and this one's an interesting one. Showing it work, it's a working prototype, so it looks like it works. Nice job. Oh, okay, the rear has a mirror. Nice touch there. Yeah, I would really blow these pictures up too, you know, just make it a full-on page so that we can look at it, and maybe even consider like photoshopping out the background. The background is pretty busy, and the image looks like it's taken on a high, kind of like a cell phone or something, so the background isn't blurred out. Yeah, and so it looks like this is the final image, and so what I would really like to do is see more like of the vehicle that you imagine this product will be on. It adds that emotion to it, adds that lifestyle. And so what I would really like you to do is just add that like vehicle with this thing mounted on it, maybe some people having fun, and maybe some emphasis on the camera. Add you know, that lifestyle and that emotion to this product. And of course, again, like I said, add those lights, you know, because these are lights, and it looks like you're emphasizing the lights a lot. So really add in those lights. I think it'll add that intensity, add that contrast, and it'll make it a lot more powerful. Okay, so this is gonna be the third project here. It's gonna be a drone. Immediately, some of the materials are jumping out to me that are, you know, not so good. So, you know, this looks like a perforated leather material. I'll probably reduce the scale down. You know, the holes aren't really lining up very good. So I'd really rethink this material here. Also, this bump material here looks a little bit too large as well. Scale that down quite a bit. This one here seems to be an older project from Uway. Honestly, I'd probably really consider even kicking this one out and putting your senior project in here, because generally you only need about 3 or 4 projects, and so I would probably consider kicking this project out and putting your final, because I'm sure that one will be a lot better, your senior final. Nice sketches though. Showing a lot of sketches, showing some face, some head, some ergonomics, handles. Okay, I like that. Some 3D, jumping into the top view, bottom view. Got some things going on. Looks like a torpedo or something down below. Cool, nice hero shot. What I would really like to see is this hero shot right here on the front page. I don't think this shot here is very powerful. It's kind of ambiguous. It's very, what's the word? There's a lot of foreshortening, and it's hard to tell what this product is, especially since it's not really drone-like, like what normally people understand what a drone is. And that's my suggestion, is if you're designing a product where there's no really other competitors out there, it's always good to just make sure to make it clear what the product is and what it does. This render here would be good for a front page, an intro page, or a rear page, and also add it into its context. Something like this, I'd really like this to really be blown up really big, so it kind of just again shows what the product actually is. Final end page, so it's okay. I think this doesn't have to be a full-on end page. This could be one of the pages, and I would probably finish it off with maybe a rear view of a very dynamic kind of a angle. All right, let's get onto this one, because this one actually looks really, really cool. This one actually intrigues me a lot. I really like all the organic things that you added, very organic here, and immediately I think employers like that because they already know that they've seen a lot of SolidWorks, and they know that it's really difficult to create organic shapes in that, and so it looks like you really achieved that with this. And you also use more softer materials, which I haven't really seen in the other ones, so it's really good use of materials in the CMF. This actually is one of your more powerful projects, so I would definitely maybe even consider moving this one up to the front or to the very first project. So that's like the first one they see, it makes the biggest impact. Some research pages, like how you did this sketching here. It looks like you use a 3D human form and you're sketching over it, which is a really good technique to use. It brings in that human body that that's what essentially you're designing for. Really like that. Some nice, bold, powerful sketches. Very nice. Showing the CAD development. Cool. I'm just kind of breezing through this because this video is getting a little bit longer than I expected. I'm talking a little bit more than I wanted to. I appreciate you guys still sticking around if you are, though, so definitely hit that thumbs up button. It really help out this YouTube channel, and while you're there, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, and these shots here looks really cool. Like, look at that shot. That's a very cool dynamic shot, slight angle. It has some nice kind of silver material with some nice fabrics. The contrast between the fabrics and the metal material or plastic looks really nice. Some exploded view, awesome. How it works, articulation, hinging, the parts of it, awesome. Okay, this is showing how the user would use it in a user scenario. Cool. I'll probably use a better kind of background image. It looks very muddy. I'm sure it's always really difficult to find these images, but I'd look a little bit harder because the quality of this is just kind of like degraded a lot or blown up a lot. So I'd look a little bit deeper and try to find a good image. So that's about it, guys. That is Wei's portfolio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Leave any comments below if there's any suggestions you would like for Wei to improve his. And Wei, if you're watching this, I'd hope you would allow me to show your senior industrial design portfolio, which I would be very happy to make a video. That's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.